guys, Klaireeberry here, and I want to do a video about the Inuit real fast, the Eskimos, although I'll just call them Inuits. There have been probably much better videos done. If you want really in detailed, check out Mike the Vegan. He has done a really good video on this, but I've looked at the studies and I'm prepared to talk about this real fast, real short for you guys here. So basically, people are still using the Inuits as a reason for eating a carnivore diet or a high, low carb, high protein diet. And one of the things that you want to look at is the actual diet of what these people were eating. These people, the Inuits traditionally, were not even in ketosis. They were eating, they ate whale meat, they ate seal, all of this different stuff that's really high in omega-3s, but it's also higher in carbs, and it's also completely different than eating meat these days here in like America or whatever. Our meat here is really super high in protein, and their meat there, I mean whale meat, come on, is super high in fat. It also has higher levels of vitamin C. So for anybody to look at this diet and say, oh, this proves my diet, is completely mistaken. It's completely different types of meat, and you also have in different altitudes and different generational, adaptations, you have totally different people. So even if these people did have less heart disease, which they don't, you could look at many different factors. Again, the altitude would be a factor. The diet, the actual diet, as opposed to just labeling it all as meat and calling it a day, would be a factor. The genetic adaptation would be a factor. So when people started going in here, they had completely unfounded, just like Weston A. Price, just like the Messiah, completely unfounded for them to say there's almost little to no heart disease. It's very vague, it's very non-scientific, and I can't believe that people still use this as an excuse to eat meat to this day. When people started coming back around, in later times, they realized, these Inuits are eating 37% carbs, at least 8 to 53% carbs. And again, the carbs that they're eating from these raw meats are keeping them out of ketosis. So again, for low carb keto people to use this is completely whack, okay? So again, 1975 study says almost little to no heart disease is total bullshit, okay? They later came back and find out, National Institute of Public Health in Greenland found out, they do have heart disease. Actually, it's quite common for them to have heart disease. Again, you have the factor where they're not living very long, so of course they're not dying of heart disease. They're dying from other things before they have a chance, but when they actually go and do the autopsies, they're finding out, yes, they do have very high rates of heart disease. Not only that, but they have a very high rate of stroke. So they actually found out that as the Inuit people started to come around to like your standard American diet or close to it, change their diet to a more modern diet, their stroke actually decreased, which is pretty crazy because that diet is not known to be healthy either. So another thing you want to look at is their bone health. Their bone health was horrible. They did have heart disease, they did have stroke, and again, their life expectancy was super, super, super low. They were eating plants in the summer. They were not in ketosis. They ate more fat than protein, and they ate raw meat where they got vitamin C. They got carbs. Also, they got vitamin D. Even though they were in the sun, a lot of the foods that they eat actually did have vitamin D. So again, that's a nutrient that you want to be careful with. And vitamin C and D are two things that you really need to be careful with if you're trying to do a carnivore diet. It's just one of those things, again, where carnivore people like Sean Baker, not very scientific. This is why he lost his medical license for taking things, spinning them, lying about them, and putting them out to the public. And of course, if you look on his Instagram, it says he's not providing scientific health advice or whatever. So be careful, just be really, really careful, because when you really get into the details, instead of just, these really early studies that are 50 years old, studies from the 1970s, 1960s, and acting like they haven't been disproven when they have is really, really ridiculous. There's so many things wrong with this. And any person who is smart at all would be able to see through this and do the research on this before putting it out to the public. So be careful, avoid the carnivore diet, avoid low carb diets, avoid these outliers where they're spinning it. Or, you know, another thing again low carb people do is to try to take, just like this, they take a diet, take a study that says something else and try to make it fit to their agenda, which is just completely irrational, completely silly. And it makes me wonder why anybody can even follow this type of diet when the bulk, the vast majority of all of the literature, all of the science done shows that vegetables and fruits are what we need to be eating for health, and grains and stuff like that. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Just want to do a real quick video to get the facts across for people who, you know, want to get the facts straight quickly. But again, I have links on Klaireeberry.com, so be sure and check those out. And be very, very careful when you're listening to people make wild claims, because when they're making wild claims, especially when they're unfounded wild claims, you can better believe that they're up to no good. So take care. Don't forget to eat your fruit. Thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe, stay subbed. Don't forget to find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest. And like I said, Klaireeberry.com has a lot of studies. I link studies that promote a vegan diet. I also will link sometimes studies that low carb people will post and showing why they are not to be trusted, whether it's, you know, they're funded by the Meat and Dairy Council or the Atkins or this or that. So a lot of things you need to look at. Follow the money trail. Be smart. This is very important that you take the time to do this to protect your health. So thank you. I'll talk to you soon.